The year 2023 gave us some huge blockbusters, but we also can't forget the movies which didn't do that well. From big screen blunders to streaming disasters, these films have failed to impress the audiences and the critics alike. Here is the list of movies that you might recommend to your enemies.
20 years. Can you believe it? You've had the best friend in the entire world.
Back at you.
First up, we have Your Place or Mine. This movie is a story about two best friends who live far apart. When one decides to chase her lifelong dream, the other steps up to watch over her teenage son. And then things start to change. To be honest, this movie couldn't hold my attention for too long. The script is terribly weak, and the film's traditional romantic comedy vibe and appealing stars aren't enough to make amends. This movie is not only predictable, but falls flat with the two main characters in Reese Witherspoon and Ashton Kutcher as well. Their performances are flat. Chemistry is tedious, let's just say. I've seen more excitement in movies with fewer plots and characters. You can watch this movie, or not watch it, on Netflix for something to play in the background at least.
Run.
And second on the list is Scream 6. The film kicks off in New York City, where 4 survivors from the last movie, which call themselves the Core 4, have moved to start fresh and avoid the spooky past. Meet the Carpenter sisters, Tara and Sam, and Meek's Martin siblings, Chad and Mindy. But hold up, did I mention love interests and roommates? Maybe they are just sneaky culprits. This movie, it's kind of like a pizza with all the toppings when you're not just hungry. The characters disappointed me the same way when one friend always cancels plans. One of the worst Scream movies with Scream 3. There are a lot of inconsistencies as to why Gail and Kirby didn't even know the family of the previous Ghostface. So let's just say, people who are following the Scream franchise, it's going to be a guilty pleasure for you. And please don't blame us that we didn't warn you. Go ahead and watch this movie on Paramount+. Next up, we have The Aquaman. This movie is about how Black Manta takes revenge for his father's death. So with the power of the Black Trident, he turns into a tough enemy to beat Aquaman, and he teams up with his imprisoned brother to defend Atlantis and of course keep the kingdom safe. The CGI in this movie is like a fashion show gone wrong. It's a mix of stunning couture and questionable fashion choices that make you wonder, who approved this? Sorry for the critics who had to sit through this entire film. You can watch this movie in theaters, and don't forget to add that extra dash of butter in your popcorn because the movie for sure is lacking that flavor. And moving on, our next movie is Five Nights at Freddy's. This movie is about Mike, who's trying hard to take care of his little sister Abby after their mother has passed away and their dad has left them. He dreams about his missing brother and tries to solve the mystery behind it. After losing many jobs, he takes a night job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. While on duty, he explores clues about his brother's disappearance in his dreams, and then encounters creepy 3D figures from the pizzeria's past. Yes, he's on the night shift, but it's more like that nap shift. It's a mix of mystery and spooky animations. Honestly, I'm still trying to understand what this movie was all about. If you want to give it a shot, it's on Peacock. All the very best. And next up, we have Hypnotic. This movie is about a detective who is on a quest to find his missing daughter, and also involves a confidential government program. This movie just made it onto my list of One Brain Cell films. Robert Rodriguez, the director of the movie, tried an anime-style movie, and we would give 1 star for that effort. What threw me off was the over-complex plot, extremely rough screenplay, and clumsily written dialogues. It wasn't just fun to watch. Felt like a sloppy superhero movie. This movie is messing with the characters' minds and yours too, in a very entertaining way. Having said that, the movie did create a fan base of its own, and if you want to watch it, it's available on Amazon Prime Video. And next up on the list, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This movie is about, of course, Ant-Man and the Wasp exploring the quantum realm, and in this journey they meet strange creatures and do things that they have never ever imagined possible. I was hoping for something to enjoy, but 90% of the movie happens in a whole different universe, and even the visuals can't save it. Well, that's a fail of intergalactic proportions. There's no emotional connection, so many of the characters just don't get enough screen time, it's overindulgent on weak CGI, and humor falls flat. The story was absolutely unnecessarily coiled, and it didn't bring anything fresh. I found the film a tad monotonous, and it seemed more like a teaser for future movies than an actual story. You could find it, or not find it, on Netflix.
I'm over 6,000 years old.
Up next, we have Shazam! Fury of the Gods. This story is about Billy Batson and his foster siblings who have superpowers given by ancient gods. They're still figuring out how to balance being teenagers with being superheroes, but when vengeful gods show up looking for their lost magic, Shazam and friends must fight to protect their powers, their lives, and even the world. It gets boring, even with some dark moments, but overall, it does not push any boundaries. Sure, there were a couple of hysterical scenes, but mostly felt like a letdown and a drag. While the performances were decent, Shazam! Fury of the Gods ultimately felt like a standard superhero package. It follows a predictable formula with a basic storyline, a few laughs, some good and some bad CGI. You can rent this movie on Prime Video, Apple TV, and YouTube as well.
That's the heart. You don't want to change anything, you just want to be the one in charge.
Our next pick is Heart of Stone. This movie is all about a secret agent who tries to stop a hacker from stealing a powerful weapon owned by a global peacekeeping agency. The movie had too many elements from James Bond and even Mission Impossible, ended up with a weak story and cringy dialogues. While some action sequences feel new and exciting, most of them lack intensity and even creativity. They casted an Indian character just to reach more audiences but failed to impress. It took me 3 trials just to finish it. It fails to provide that adrenaline rush we expect from an action film. You can watch it or not on Netflix. And the final movie on our list is Viking Wolf. After seeing a brutal murder at a party in her new town, a teenager begins having odd visions and even strange desires. I was excited for the werewolves ripping things apart, but this movie didn't quite satisfy me. It was a laughable scare, an amateurish mashup of every werewolf film. The main character felt weak, the story had some good moments, but the ending was just too vague and annoying. Special effects were the weakest part. There's a bit of teenage family drama thrown in. There's young love, both of which don't take the story anywhere. But hey, don't let my opinion stop you from watching it. You can watch Viking Wolf on Netflix if you'd like. And there you have it, friends, the films that did not do so well. Every year has its fair share of cinematic disappointments, but let's not dwell on the negatives. Remember, sometimes a bad film can be a guilty pleasure as well. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment down below which, for you, is the worst film that you have watched. Thank you, take care.